A very good morning, class. We are here for our algebra period, and the topic that we are going to start today is our chapter number 3, Arithmetic Progression. Let us first understand what do you mean by arithmetic. Arithmetic simply means using of our operators. What are our operators? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. These are called as operators. When we use these operators to find out certain terms or certain numbers who have a definite order. For example, if I talk about even numbers, what are our even numbers? 2, 4, 6, 8 and so on. If I ask you, you will tell me, Miss, the difference between them is 2. Similarly, if I ask you that tell me multiples of 5, you would answer, Miss, 5, 10, 15, 20, these all are multiples of 5. So what do we understand? That any numbers having a definite order using our operators is called arithmetic progression. So progression means a series of numbers arranged properly where the difference between their numbers or the difference between the consecutive numbers is same. Let us consider a few examples. Then we would understand what is arithmetic progression. As you can see, in the first example, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. So what is the difference here? What unique or what can you identify from this example? Yes, if you add 1 to the first term, or 1 plus 1 will give you the second term, that is 2. 2 plus 1 will give you the third term, that is 3. 3 plus 1 will give you the fourth term, that is 4. And 4 plus 1 will give you the fifth term, that is 5, and so on. That means if you go on adding 1, you would get the next term. Let us consider one more example. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Now, what are we doing here? Yes, we are adding 5 to each of the terms to get the next term. That means we added 5 plus 5 to get 10. 10 plus 5 to get 15. 15 plus 5 to get 20. And 20 plus 5 to get 25. Let us consider the third example now. Your third example says 10, 20, 50, 60 and so on. Yes, there's some problem. What is the problem? If you add 10 plus 10, you get 20. But over here, now the number changes. Like 20 plus 30 will give you 50. Again, 50 plus 10 will give you 60. Yes. Here, different numbers are being added to get the next term. Let us see example number 4. 0, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8 and so on. Yes, the difference over here is also varying. Like 0 plus 2 will give you 2. 2 plus 2 will give you 4. 4 plus 1 will give you 5. 5 plus 1 will give you 6. 6 plus 2 will give you 8. Again over here, the difference is different for each term. So, what do you observe from these 4 examples? We observe that example 1 and example 2 have their difference same, whereas example 3 and example 4 do not have their difference same. Their difference is varying. So now what do you understand by the word sequence? As we discussed earlier, a set of numbers where the numbers are arranged in a definite order. We called it as a sequence. So now from these 4 examples, which are our sequence? Example 1 and example 2 is or are in a sequence. Now, let us understand the proper meaning of arithmetic progression. The next term obtained by adding or subtracting a particular number to the previous number. Each of these sequence is called arithmetic progression. Yes, what did we learn in the earlier examples? We learned that when I added 1 to the first term, I got 2 as my second term. That means 1 plus 1 gave me 2. So that is what is told over here. When we add or we subtract a number to the first one, to the previous term, to get the next term, and so on, we carry on these process, we get different numbers, and those numbers are in a sequence. That sequence is called as arithmetic progression. Similarly, when we multiply or divide a number to the previous number to get the next term, then that sequence is called as geometric progression. So what do you mean by geometric progression? The next term obtained by multiplying, dividing a particular number to the previous number. Each of these sequence is called geometric progression. Since now we have understood what do you mean by arithmetic progression, let us become familiar to certain terms. In a sequence, if the difference is constant, then the sequence is called as arithmetic progression. If I have an arithmetic progression, difference between two consecutive numbers is denoted by the letter D. If I have an AP, that means an arithmetic progression is given to me, then the first term is labeled as A and the common difference is labeled as D. And the sequence will be in this order. That means A, comma A plus D, comma A plus 2D and so on. Let us now start solving our exercise to make things more clear. So we are beginning with exercise 3.1. Main question 1. Your question says, which of the following sequence are AP? If they are AP, find the common difference. Let us take the first sub-question. Your question says 2, 4, 6, 8. Let us write the answer. So what is given to us? Different terms. That means T1, T2, T1 that is 2, T2 that is 4, T3 that is 6 and T4 that is 8. So let us find out whether they have a common difference. So how are we going to find that out? T2 minus T1. That means 4 minus 2 will give you 2. Similarly, T3 minus T2, that is 6 minus 4, will give you 2. T4 minus T3, that equals to 8 minus 6 equals to 2. Therefore, I can conclude that the difference is same. Since the difference is same, the given equation is in arithmetic progression. Now, let us solve a sub-question 2. Let's take into consideration a sum number 2. So the question goes like this. 2, 5 upon 2, 3, 7 upon 2. There is a slight change in the question. In your textbook, it is given to you as 7 upon 3. You need to change your denominator to 2. So make the changes in your textbook. We'll begin with the answer. First, we are going to write the given part. And what is given to us? Terms. That means T1. What is your T1? 2. T2. What is your T2? 5 upon 2. T3 is 3. And T4 is 7 upon 2. Now we have to find the difference between each term. So how are you going to find the difference? By subtracting. Which two terms? T2 minus T1. T2 is 5 upon 2 minus T1 is 2. As you can see, 5 upon 2 is a fraction. What we need to do is, we need to take out the LCM. As 2 is not having a denominator, we consider the denominator as 1. Now we have to take the LCM. How are we going to take the LCM? By multiplying the denominator by 2. Since I multiply the denominator by 2, I even multiply the numerator as well with the same number. So now I get is 5 upon 2 minus 2 2s are 4 upon 2. That gives me 5 minus 4 upon common denominator 2. 5 minus 4 is 1. So 1 upon 2 is my answer. Similarly, let's go for T3 minus T2. What is your T3? 3. What is your T2? 5 upon 2. Again, 3 is not having a denominator, so the denominator is 1. We need to take out the LCM. So we are multiplying the denominator and the numerator by 2. Once you multiply the numerator and the denominator, 3 2s are 6 upon 2 minus 5 upon 2. That further gives me 6 minus 5 upon common denominator 2. That equals to 6 minus 5 is 1. That equals to 1 upon 2. Let's consider T4 minus T3. So T4 minus T3 is equal to 7 upon 2 minus 3. Over here, again 3 is having the denominator as 1. We take out the LCM by multiplying it by 2 into 2. So that gives me 7 upon 2 minus 3 2s are 6 upon 2. That means 7 minus 6 upon common denominator 2, which gives me again 1 upon 2. As you can see, all terms are having 1 upon 2, 1 upon 2, 1 upon 2 as their difference. So what am I going to write? Therefore, here the difference (1 upon 2) is same. Since it is same, I would say the given sequence is an AP, means arithmetic progression. Now, as you can see, the question for your third sum is minus 10, minus 6, minus 2, 2, and so on. Let us write what is given to us. And the things that are given to us is T1 as minus 10, T2 as minus 6, T3 as minus 2, T4 as 2. Now we need to find the common difference. That means T2 minus T1, minus 6 minus of minus 10. After 6, the sign which is there, that is of difference, and minus 10 is already having a subtraction sign. So minus minus will give you plus. So minus 6 plus 10 will give you 4. Similarly, T3 minus T2, that is minus 2 minus of minus 6, that is minus 2 plus 6. Minus minus will give you plus. Minus 2 plus 6 equals to 4. Similarly, we'll find out for T4. T4 minus T3 is equal to 2 minus of minus 2. That means 2 plus 2 will give you 4. As you can see, the common difference here again is same, and that is 4. Therefore, I can say that this given sequence is an AP. Let us consider our fourth sum. Your fourth sum is 0.3, 0.33, 0.333. Again, there's a change in the question. In your textbook, it is given as 0.0333. Change your question to 0.333 and so on. Answer to this question will be, first we need to write T1, T2, T3, T4. T4 is not there, so we'll only come up to T3. So what is given to us? T1 as 0.3, T2 as 0.33, T3 as 0.333. Let's see about the difference. When I subtract T2 minus T1, that is 0.33 minus 0.3, I get my answer as 0.03. Similarly, when I subtract T3 minus T2, 0.333 minus 0.33, I get my answer as 0.003. Here, the difference is not same. As you can see, 0.03 I get in the first term when I subtract first term and the second term, and when I subtract third term and the second term, I get the difference as 0.003. So the difference is not same. Therefore, I can say that the given sequence is not an AP. Let us consider the sixth sum now. So now let us consider sub-question number 6. Your question says minus 1 upon 5, comma, minus 1 upon 5, comma, minus 1 upon 5, comma, and so on. So now what we are going to do? We are going to write the given part of the answer. So that is we are going to write the terms. So which terms are given to us? We need to write them first. So T1 as minus 1 upon 5, T2 as minus 1 upon 5, and T3 as minus 1 upon 5. Now what we have to do is we have to find out the difference. So how are we going to find out the difference? By subtracting the terms. That means T2 minus T1. What is your T2? Minus 1 upon 5 minus of minus 1 upon 5. As your T2 was having a minus sign, this is the minus sign of the difference, and your T1 was also having a minus sign. As we have studied earlier, minus and minus will give me plus. So minus 1 upon 5 plus 1 upon 5. We don't have to take out the LCM as the denominators are same. So minus 1 plus 1 upon 5. Minus 1 plus 1 is 0 upon 5. So my final answer is 0. Okay. Let us consider the next examples. That means T2 or T3 minus T2. Again, T3 is minus 1 upon 5 minus of minus 1 upon 5, that is your T2. Let us subtract. Minus 1 upon 5 minus minus will give me plus 1 upon 5. That equals to minus 1 plus 1 upon common denominator 5 minus 1 plus 1 is 0 upon 5, and if you have 0 in the numerator, then your final answer is also 0. So as you can see, the difference over here is 0. So what can I say? Here the difference is 0 and it is same. Therefore, the given sequence is an AP. Okay, now let us solve the seventh sum. Your question for the seventh sum goes like this. 3, 3 plus root 2, 3 plus 2 root 2, 3 plus 3 root 2, dot dot dot. Okay, this is your question. Now let us consider Now let us write the terms. So we are going to write what is given to us. Okay, so we are going to write what is given to us are our terms. So let us write our terms first. T1 is 3, T2 is 3 plus root 2, T3 is 3 plus 2 root 2, and T4 is 3 plus 3 root 2. Okay, so now we have to write our steps to find out the difference. What is our step? T2 minus T1. What is T2? 3 plus root 2 minus what is T1? 3. Over here, 3 is a whole number, 3 is a whole number. 3 plus root 2. This is in an equation form, whereas there is no equation here. So we can directly carry out the subtraction. Right? So plus 3 minus 3 will get cancelled. Plus 3 minus 3 will get cancelled. And the things that will remain is root 2. Let us consider for T3 minus T2. So when we take T3 minus T2, what happens? T3 is 3 plus 2 root 2 minus T2 is 3 plus root 2. Since we have an equation after a subtraction sign, we need to keep them under a group. Okay, because there is a subtraction sign before an equation. So since there is a subtraction sign before the equation, the signs inside the brackets will change. That means the first equation will remain as it is, but now the signs are supposed to change. So I would have minus 3 minus plus will give me minus root 2. Okay, I'll again repeat the step. I said after subtraction I have an equation. That is the reason I have put a bracket. When the brackets open, the signs inside the bracket will change. That means the first equation will remain as it is. The second equation's signs will change. Now we are going to carry on the subtraction.
So plus 3 minus 3, they will get cancelled. The things that remain is 2 root 2 minus root 2. Now this root 2 is having a coefficient. This root 2 is not having a coefficient. That means over there we have 1 as a coefficient. So since we have learnt surds in the earlier class, we know when we have surds in addition subtraction form, we are going to subtract the coefficients. That means 2 minus 1 is my coefficient and the surd comes outside the bracket. So 2 minus 1 is 1 root 2. This is my next answer. What is the next answer? That is root 2. 1 is a coefficient which even if we don't write, it's okay. Similarly, we are going to solve t4 minus t3. That means t4 is 3 plus 3 plus 3 root 2 minus, since t3 is in an equation form, I'm going to put on the bracket 3 plus 2 root 2. Since I've put a bracket, again the same thing we are going to repeat. The signs of the second equation is supposed to change. That means the first equation will remain as it is, minus 3 minus 2 root 2. Okay, so now what is going to get cancelled? Plus 3 minus 3 is going to get cancelled and the coefficients with the root will be written down. That means 3 root 2 minus 2 root 2. Again they are in the third form, so what are we going to do? We are going to group the coefficients. 3 minus 2 and root 2 will be written outside the bracket. 3 minus 2 is 1 root 2, which can again be written as root 2. As you can see, the difference over here is again same. So what are we going to do is, so are they in an AP? Yes, because the difference is same, therefore they are in AP. So what am I going to write? Here the difference root 2 is same. Therefore, the given sequence is an arithmetic progression. Okay, class?
So class, we have completed with the first question of our exercise 3.1. Few questions would go as homework. So note down those questions which you will be solving as homework, and I would be sharing those answers in the next video. That means when I start with 3.2 exercise, before that I would be sharing pictures of the answers of homework questions. So your homework would be question number 1, sub-question 5 and sub-question 8 will be your homework for today. Now we'll move on to our second question. Your second question says, write an AP whose first term is A and common difference is D in each of the following. That is given to you. Let's consider the first sum. A is given to you as 10 and difference is given to you as 5. So what is given to us? T1, that means A, the first term is given to us. So our first term is A, T1 is 10. So how are you going to find the second term? You're going to add D in the first term. That means how are you going to get T2? You're going to add T1 plus D. That means 10 plus 5 will give you 15.
Similarly, how are you going to find T3? T2 plus D. What is T2? 15. 15 plus D, that equals to 20. How are you going to find T4? T3 plus D. That means 20 plus 5 will give you 25. You need to only find first 4 terms, no need to go ahead. Therefore, the AP which we have obtained from the first term and the difference is 10, 15, 20, 25 and so on. Let us consider the second sum. Over here, the first term is minus 3, that is A, and the common difference is 0, D. So what is given to us? Things that are given to us is T1, means A is given to you as minus 3. How are you going to find T2? T1 plus D, that means minus 3 plus 0 equals to minus 3. T3, T2 plus D, that means minus 3 plus 0 equals minus 3. T4, T3 plus D, that means minus 3 plus 0 equals minus 3. We found the first 4 terms, so the required AP, that is minus 3, minus 3, minus 3 and so on. Since the common difference was 0, same number would be repeated because there is no difference only. So this number will go on and on and on. Now let us consider example number 3. Your third example says, or question says, A is given to you as minus 7 and D is given to you as 1 upon 2. So let's find the AP. So what is given to us? So we start with the answer and we write what is given to us. So what is given to us? T1, that means A, that is minus 7. We are going to find the next terms. That means we are going to find T2. How are you going to find T2? T1 plus D. And what is a D? 1 upon 2. T1 is minus 7 and D is 1 upon 2. Again it's a fraction. That means we need to take out the LCM. Over here the denominator is 1. Since the denominator is 2 over here, I multiply it by 2. I multiply it by 2. So 7 2s are minus 14 upon 2 plus 1 upon 2. Minus 14 plus 1 upon 2 will give me minus 14 plus 1 minus 13 upon 2. This would be my answer. Second term of the AP. Similarly, I need to find the third term. To find out the third term, I am going to write T3 is equal to T2 plus D. What is your T2? 13 plus minus 13 upon 2 plus D, that means 1 upon 2. Already you have a LCM, so you have a denominator, so you don't need to take the LCM. So straight away you are going to subtract the numerator. Minus 13 plus 1, common denominator 2. Minus 13 plus 1 will give me minus 12. So minus 12 upon 2, the answer which you get is minus 6. This would be your third term. Let's find out the fourth term. That is T4, that equals to T3 plus D. What is your T3? Minus 6. Minus 6 plus D is 1 upon 2. You need to take out the LCM because 6 is not having a denominator. So you need to give the denominator 1 and you need to take out the LCM. So you need to multiply it by 2. You need to multiply it by 2. So what do you get? 6 2s are minus 12 upon 2 plus 1 upon 2. Since you have a common denominator,
What are you going to write? Minus 12 plus 1 upon 2. Minus 12 plus 1 will give you minus 11. So minus 11 upon 2. So this is your required AP. So what is the required AP over here? Therefore, the required AP is minus 7, comma minus 13 upon 2, comma minus 6, comma minus 11 upon 2, and so on. Okay, you need to write the final statements for each and every sum. Whether it is a 1 mark sum or a 2 mark sum, you need to write the final statement. Let us consider your question number 4. Sub question 4. Over here, what is given to you? A. A is given to you as 1 minus 1.25 and D is given to you as 3. When I find out for the second term, T1 plus D will give me T2. That means minus 1.25 plus 3 will give me 1.75. How? Let me explain. After 1 you have a decimal number, that is 2 and 5. After 3 you don't have a decimal point. Therefore 3 is a whole number. 3 would be written in decimal terms, 3.00. And we need to subtract minus 1.25 from 3. When I subtract minus 1.25 from 3.00, I get my answer as 1.75. I repeat myself again. 3 is a whole number. There is no decimal after 3. Therefore, I write 3 as 3.00. Minus 1 is already having a decimal after it. Therefore, minus 1 will be subtracted from 3.00. When I subtract minus 1.25 from 3.00, I get my answer as 1.75. Now, let us find out term 3. To find out term 3, what am I going to do? T2 plus D. That means 1.75 plus 3 will give me 4.75. 3 is a whole number. 3 would be directly added to 1. And the answer would be obtained as 4.75. Next would be T4. How will I obtain T4? T4 is equal to T3 plus D. 4.75 plus 3 will give me 7.75. Therefore, the required AP will be minus 1.25, comma 1.75, comma 4.75, comma 7.75 and so on. Your homework questions would be in your question number 2, sub-questions 5 and sub-questions 6 would be your homework. Answers to these homework sums will be shared in the next video. Let's move on to your third sum. Third question says, find the first term and common difference for each of the AP. We will solve sub-question 2. Your question is 0.6, 0.9, 1.2, 1.5 and so on. What you have to find out is your first term and common difference. That means A and D. That's it. So, as a sequence is given to you, we need to give them terms. So, which is your first term? T1, that is 0.6. T2, 0.9. T3, 1.2. And T4, 1.5. As I told you earlier, T1 means our first term, that is 0.6. So we have got a first term. Now let us find out the common difference. So to find out the common difference, what am I going to do? I'm going to subtract T3 minus T2. That is 1.2 minus 0.9 will give me 0.3. Similarly, T4 minus T3 will give me 1.5 minus 1.2 is equal to 0.3. As the common difference is same, therefore the common difference is 0.3 and your first term, that means A, is 0.6. Let us consider the fourth example, fourth sum now. Let us start with your fourth sub-question. Your question goes like this. 1 upon 4, comma 3 upon 4, comma 5 upon 4, comma 7 upon 4, and so on. Since we need to find out the first term and the common difference, let us write what is given to us. So we'll begin with our answer. And since a sequence is given to you, we will write all the terms first. So what is your T1? T1 is 1 upon 4. T2 is 3 upon 4. T3 is 5 upon 4. T4 is 7 upon 4. Okay. So now let's find out the first term and the common difference. First term T1 is also called as A, and which is 1 upon 4. Now we need to find out the difference. To find out the difference, what are we going to do? T2 minus T1. That means 3 upon 4 minus 1 upon 4. Having common denominator 4, straight away subtract the numerators. 3 minus 1 upon common denominator 4, that is 2 upon 4. When you reduce this, you get your answer as 1 upon 2. We'll move ahead. D is equal to T3 minus T2. T3, 5 upon 4. T2, 3 upon 4. Common denominator, so subtract the numerators. 5 minus 3 upon 4. 5 minus 3, 2 upon 4. When you reduce it, you get it as 1 upon 2. Again, T4 minus T3. That means 7 upon 4 minus 5 upon 4. Again, we have a common denominator 4. So let's subtract the numerators directly. 7 minus 5 upon 4. 7 minus 5, 2 upon 4. When we reduce it, we get the answer as 1 upon 2. As you can see, the common difference is same. Therefore, what can we write? Here, the common difference D is 1 upon 2 and the first term A is 1 upon 4. Okay. So class, from this particular question, sub-question 1 and sub-question 3 would be as homework. Okay. So we have completed with 3.1 exercise and few sums are given to you as homework. You need to solve those sums, and when I upload or when the next video is been uploaded, I want you to check your answers when I share certain pictures of those answers with you. Thank you class. Stay home, be safe, keep studying.